Hello, everybody. Hello,
Well,
Bo.
hello, Kenneth. How are you?
Very well, thank you, mate.
That's great. Thanks for joining today.
Now, I'll only be here for a short time, but Alex Hanlon will be here at 2:15.
Understood. Understood. I just wanted to say to everyone joining us today, thank you for joining this very special webinar with Yes Education and CQU. CQU has been one of our partners for a very long time, and as everyone knows, CQU is a very unique university in Australia. They champion themselves as a university of diversity, outreach, and engagement all across Australia. They're one of the top two universities, top 2% of universities worldwide, top two for graduate outcomes as well across Australia, and do very, very well for employability too. They're a comprehensive uni, so they specialize in many different fields, and they're a leader in business, economics, education, engineering, and technology, and social sciences. So like Kenneth said, I think Kenneth is going to go through a bit of a introduction and a little discussion with me for the first 15 minutes of the webinar. Then we're going to have Alex Hanlon, who is the International Recruitment Manager for CQU. And we've also got Agatha Kanakamuni here as well to provide us support for this webinar. So we're going to be going through things like the key selling points for CQU, the affordable fees, the scholarships, and about the 13 different campuses that CQU has available to international students around Australia. And that's very unique. No other university has that amount of campuses available for international students. So CQU is a really incredible university, and I'm really excited today to discuss with everyone more about CQU. I think there's some good promotions to announce that Alex will talk about a little bit later. So Kenneth, how are you? Tell us where you are, what you've been doing, and how are things from your end?
Okay, well, I can't start my video, so I'm assuming everybody's okay with that.
Yes.
Unless that's okay. All right. So I am based in Melbourne, in Australia. I am really regionally based. I live in a town called Traralgon, which is about 2.5 hours east of Melbourne. But I come into Melbourne every couple of days and spend some time in the campus, which is really fantastic. And it's great because things are starting to become a little bubbly now. There's a lot more people on campus.
Right.
We're just waiting now so that we can get some students in and start studying on campus. But it's great to see the staff back in here. I am the Deputy Director for International Sales, and I work very closely with Bronwyn Barch, who is the Director for International. So my role is to look after our sales team, to help guide them, pass on some of my experience. I've been involved in sales and marketing for over 30 years now, so there's quite a lot of experience that I have. It has been difficult times with COVID arriving the way it did. And I think it would go without saying that all universities have struggled. It has been a difficult time for everyone. The main focus for us now is to get the students to understand the importance of enrolling online. By doing that, we believe that they will cover some time, a part of their education journey that will put them in good stead for when they do arrive on Australian shores. So I know it's difficult for some students because technology isn't in their favour in particular parts around Asia, which does make life a little difficult. But for those that can start studying online, my advice is get started, get some of your studies behind you so that you're ahead of the game. Another thing that's really important to understand about starting to study online is that it can help secure your visa, which is a really important part. And that when the borders do open, and we don't believe it's going to be all that far away, what it will do, those that have already started studying online, they will be moved to the front of the queues because they will be expected to get into the country and continue their studies. As I said, it's been a difficult time, and I think that it's not too far away. We've got a light at the end of the tunnel. I think a vaccine is very close. And once that happens, I think everything's going to accelerate immensely. And just in a very short time, it's going to be like a firecracker going off, I think. No, I'm not sure if you're of the same opinion, but that's how I see it. I just have a question for you. Is that,
Yes.
is that a faint South African accent I've detected?
No. Some people say, but no. I'm from Sydney. I'm from no South African accent at all.
You're carrying something there, my friend.
I've lived abroad for some time now. Maybe that's why, but I don't hear any South African accent. Definitely not. Don't sound like Tony Gregg or anything like that.
Yeah, well, considering he's not with us, I hope you don't sound like him. But it's a unusual accent that you're carrying. But you know, Sydney people can tend to do that sometimes.
Yeah, the Australian accent, it can really depend on who you're talking to, and it's not. Sometimes it can be based on the region, sometimes not. So Kenneth, originally you're from Melbourne as well?
Yes, I've always lived in Melbourne. Lived abroad a lot, as yourself, but have never been able to shake that Australian slang part of the accent.
Good.
Yeah, no, it is good, and I know that times when I was living in the United States that people just, you know, I don't understand it because I think our accent is terrible. But Americans just flock to you if you have an Australian accent. It's quite bizarre. As a young man, though, I was heavily involved in acting, and I've been in a rock band since I was 17. So I still perform, and I'm the lead singer in a band. The band is called Levi's Mother. And we do tributes to artists all over the world. Where I'm Alice Cooper one minute, I'm Freddie Mercury the next.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember Skyhooks. You look like you might be a little too young to remember Skyhooks.
Don't know Skyhooks.
No, but they had a lead singer called Shirley Strawn. His real name was Graham, and I used to surf with him a lot. And I imitate him as well, which is good fun.
Fantastic. So tell us, since you've started at CQU, how have you found working in the education industry in terms of sales and marketing? Where do you see some of the big differences? And besides COVID, what have you seen as some of the challenges in this industry?
Well, there has been a lot of challenges, and I think that before I talk about a challenge, one thing that I do want to identify with CQU, even though I have come from a different sector, I have a lot of friends and a lot of companions who work for other universities around Australia. One of the things that I see and really applaud CQU for is their attention to the care factor when it comes to a student. They are a university that follows the student's journey from day one through to graduation. And they're really strong on this. And this is something that I like. In fact, I more than like it, I love it, because it just shows me that the people that CQU employ are genuine people. And when I hear people talk about students, they talk about them like they are their friends. They're not a number. They're not somebody who's just, a bit of income to the university. They are a person that has a true identity, and a lot of people within the university know who that person is. To me, that is gold.
Yeah.
And we have a really good nurturing and hand-holding process here through our student engagement team, and the guidance that they offer students from the day they start to the day they finish, in my view, is second to none. From what I can see in other universities, this university does that really well. And to me, that is something that is worth so much. And the way they integrate with other students and how the teams help them do that, how they help them find activities outside of the university, which in my view is really important. If you can help somebody find a sporting club or a chess club or whatever it might be, maybe not chess, but what I'm saying is that, if we can identify an interest that that student has, and then we can guide them to a group of people that can embrace that with them and guide them, befriend them, to me, that is just, money can't buy that stuff.
It is gold. I agree with you. And I think CQU, they do have that reputation for engagement and really helping international students integrate and really have that Australian experience as well.
You know what, Bo? Also, something else that CQU do really well is when a student is at that time looking for placement, for work.
Yeah.
CQU, I can't remember the actual percentage, but it is right up there. In fact, I think if it's not better than any other university, it is a close second. And I can't remember this percentage, but it is extremely high, and it's a really good selling point that when people are looking for an internship, the chances of getting that internship are far greater if they are a student at CQU.
Yeah, absolutely. So you talked about, we all know CQU has so many different campuses across Australia, and that's one of the good opportunities for students. They can really choose to. They can go to Perth, they could go to Rockhampton, they could go to Melbourne. So you're down in Melbourne. What do you think Melbourne has to offer for international students compared to other places in Australia?
Well, Melbourne is very big regarding engineering and IT. So we have a lot of students that are studying those courses here. The thing about Melbourne is that, particularly with Southern Asia, we have so many communities, not just in Melbourne, but in regional Victoria, where there is very large South Asian communities. Where I live, a town called Traralgon, 2.5, possibly 3 hours, depending on traffic, away from Melbourne, has a huge Indian and Nepalese community. They also have huge Filipino communities. There's others as well. There's Italian, Greek, Maltese, a lot of European, but South Asia and Southeast Asia, it is enormous.
Big.
It's fantastic. It really is. And just getting back to that band for a second, we have on 2 occasions played at Indian functions, and they are just sensational. They are people that know how to have a fun time.
Yeah.
Their food is beautiful, and so are the people to go with it. And they just are the warmest, most welcoming people that you can ever imagine. And what I find, even in my hometown, which you would think in a regional town of Victoria, that if a group of Indian students got out of a car, that people would look twice. Well, they don't in Traralgon, and they don't in many regional towns, because we're so used of seeing South Asian people in our community. So they're really welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I found that too in Melbourne myself. Very, very diverse, and especially that South Asian community. Very, it's been there for a very long time as well.
It really has, and I mean, you know, you don't have to walk very far to find an Indian restaurant.
Oh, very good quality down in Melbourne. Incredible.
Hey everyone, sorry.
So Kenneth, I think we have Alex here now.
Yep.
So if you have to go, Kenneth, thank you so much for your introduction. And it's really great to have someone of your experience in international marketing on the CQU team now. And I really wish you the best of luck for 2021. I share your optimism as well. I think this year will be a lot better. I certainly hope so. Could be a little bit tough in the beginning, but I think as we go forwards deeper into 2021, I think we'll have some positive news ahead for prospective international students around the globe. So thank you again, Kenneth.
You are more than welcome, Bo. And look, if you don't mind, I've still got 14 minutes that I can hang around for.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
I'll just sit in for a little while. And again, thank you so much for the opportunity.
No problem. Yeah, stay in the chat. And if you have anything else to add while Alex speaks, please don't hesitate to do so. So how are you doing, Alex?
Really well, thanks, Bo. How are you?
Great. I'm very good. So today we've got some of our agent partners around Southeast Asia, East Asia, South Asia, and onshore agent partners as well. So they all know about CQU, and they are very keen on hearing a little bit more details from you and any sort of promotions for this year. So so Alex is the international recruitment manager for CQU. So Alex will be doing a presentation for us now.
Sure. Would you like me to share my screen, Bo?
Yes, I will help you with that. I'll make you a co-host. Done. You should be able to share.
Okay, thank you.
Alex, how long have you been with CQU now?
I've been with CQU for nearly 6 years now.
Okay, fantastic.
So yeah, I'm the international recruitment coordinator, and at the moment I'm based here in Melbourne. I actually have visited the Yes Education office in Vietnam. I think that
yes, that's right.
Yeah,
I myself am based in Ho Chi Minh City.
Are you? Okay, great. Yeah.
Yep.
So that was some years ago now. It must have been 2016, I think, from memory.
Yeah, that's when we first opened. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had Lee managing our office, and now I'm here.
Excellent. Yeah, I spent 4 years living in Ho Chi Minh myself, so it's a city that's close to my heart. Yeah, so my background's in admissions as well. So if anyone in this call has ever got any application inquiries or questions or need a hand with that, please feel free to reach out to me at any point, and I'll share my contact details after the presentation. So can you guys see that presentation now? Yeah,
very clear.
Excellent. So yeah, as I mentioned, my name's Alex Hamlin. I'm the International Recruitment Coordinator at CQU. So we'll have a quick look at the key selling points at the university. I think you guys are familiar, but yes.
I think, Alex, you just need to make that full screen. We can just see the kind of the, yeah.
Nope, that's not it.
I think it might be in that display settings, or you can exit again.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm not sure what's caused that.
If you just exit again.
Yeah.
And then click on slideshow. Just further to the right. If you go down a little bit, you should see the slideshow tab just above there. You see design, transitions, animations. Yeah. Then we go from the beginning. Oh, interesting. In the display settings, it doesn't say to enlarge.
Might be. No, that's not going to be that one.
Oh, interesting.
Because I've got multiple screens set up here, we can just try. Here we go. Let me try this one. How's that, Bo?
There we go. Very good.
Yeah, great. So
thanks, Alex.
Technical issues? No problems. Yeah, so we'll have a look at some of the key selling points and why students are choosing to study at CQU. A quick run through of our admissions processes currently, and then some new initiatives that we're running for 2021. Please feel free to jump in if anyone has questions at any time, or we'll leave some time at the end as well. So when we have a look at the reputation of the university, CQU is currently in the top 2% of universities worldwide, and the university also has some really strong graduate employment outcomes for both the starting salary and the employment rate of our graduates. And we'll look at that in more detail in a moment as well. With the Good Universities Guide, we've been given 5 stars in skill development, student support and social equity, and also 5 stars in employability, internationalisation and our teaching. We ranked first by English Australia for making students feel welcome, and a top 5 result for our overall learning. Some leading university subject areas that we are teaching in are business and economics, education, engineering and technology, and social sciences. We've also got research in a large number of areas, and we rank at above and well above world standard in 22 research categories. So why do students choose CQ University? So we have quality education for everyone. So what this means is that we have pathways for students to make the university as accessible as possible. So that might be students coming through our diploma vocational pathways, or it could also be students utilising the graduate certificate to master's pathways as well. The tuition fees at the university are affordable. So for a top 2% university in the world, we feel that the tuition fees are really competitive. And we've got some great scholarships for students coming to CQU as well. As you guys probably are aware, we have campuses in every mainland state in Australia. So there are 12 campuses for our international students. The study at CQU is flexible. So we have 3 intakes, 3 semesters, which means that students can start at multiple points throughout the year. And it can also mean that they can vary their study load by undertaking studies in the 3rd semester. And we've also got really good internships available for students, and our courses are led by industry. So here is a bit of a look at the multiple campuses that I referred to, and I actually sold us one short. We've got 13 campuses for international students now. So we have our metro campuses in the big cities, so Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne and Perth. These campuses are in the CBD, in the centre of the city, in a tall business building. They generally teach our courses like business, IT, engineering, project management, these kind of courses. All of these campuses are very easy to get to in the centre of the city, so students can just get public transport and come straight into the CBD. It's also good to have a campus in the centre of the city because there's a lot of part-time work opportunities for the students in the city centre as well. Then we have our regional campuses, which is all of these campuses here in Queensland. So we have Rockhampton, our main campus in Central Queensland. And then we also have Cairns, Townsville, Mackay, Gladstone and Bundaberg. So all of these campuses are classified as a regional area. So students will get a bonus in the migration if they were looking at a post-study work visa for these campuses. And generally these campuses have a specialty area in each of the campuses as they are a little smaller. We have a research campus in Adelaide. So in Adelaide, students can study IT or they can do research. And then please do keep in mind for the Perth campus, as you're probably aware, that Perth has been put back onto the regional migration list. So students going to Perth will also receive extra years after graduation if they were to apply for a post-study work visa. So they're the campuses, and here are some of the study areas that we have courses in. So CQU is a dual sector university, one of the only dual sector universities in Australia. And what this means is that we teach both vocational and higher education courses. So we can teach certificate and diplomas all the way through to research and PhD programs. So students can come in and do their ELICOS study into a certificate or a diploma through to an associate or bachelor degree. And then we have graduate certificate, graduate diploma, masters and masters by research options for the students as well. These are the areas of study that we are delivering in, and we'll have a look at these in more detail in the next few slides. So these are, again, the most popular courses that we've got. So we're seeing lots of students coming in for our accounting and engineering programs, IT and nursing at both undergraduate and postgraduate. The graduate certificate in nursing has been really popular for students who are looking to get their nursing qualification from their home country recognised in Australia as well. Just a couple of new courses to pick out here. The Master of Construction Management is a new program that we are now teaching in Perth and also in Brisbane. So this is for students who have a background in the kind of trade field, so architecture or engineering, to come and do a construction management program. So this has been a really popular course and it's about to have its first intake in March of 2021. So we'll just look at the key courses that we're delivering at the moment. So nursing is one of those courses. We teach nursing in our main campus at Rockhampton. It takes 3 years to complete the program and it starts in March and July. This is the estimated total course fee, so for the 3 years. So students are looking at about $95,000. Students would pay for the course semester by semester, so they don't need to obviously pay all of that in one go. For this program, we do need students to sit an ELICOS test of some kind, and they need to have an equivalent score of IELTS 7 with no band less than 7.0. We can see the graduate salary outcome here for these students. So graduates are in 91% of graduates are in employment. So what that means is that within 3 months of graduating from this program, 91% of the students have found employment. Another really popular course that is fairly new is the Masters of Public Health. This course is being taught in Melbourne, Sydney, and regionally in Cairns. It's a 2-year Masters. It starts in March and July, and Sydney also has a November intake for the course. This is the estimated course fee here, and for entry, students just need to have a 3-year bachelor degree completed, and that bachelor degree can be in any discipline, so they don't need to have a health background to get entry into this course. The English requirements for the Master of Public Health is an IELTS of 6.0 with no score less than 5.5. And this is our standard English entry requirement. So for most bachelor and master's degrees, the LECOS requirement is an IELTS of 6.0 with no score less than 5.5. Engineering, so we have a Master of Management for Engineers, and again, this is taught in the metro campuses, so in Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. Again, 2 years with the standard LECOS requirement of 6.0 with no band less than 5.5. The coursework focuses on leadership within engineering, so management, governance, project management, systems and theories, and strategic integration. This program has also got the internship available within that program, and CQU will find the internship for your students, and we'll have a detailed look at the internships in a few moments. So that's our management engineering program, and this is the more technical Master of Engineering. So this program is taught in Melbourne, Rockhampton and Perth. This one does have a slightly different LECOS requirement than our standard intakes. So students do need to have an IELTS of 6.5 with no score less than 6.0. We are able to package our English leading into this master's degree. So students can study the English leading into the master's with one offer and therefore also one visa. We can also see some really strong graduate employment outcomes from the engineering qualification as well. So the CQU average salary of the graduates is 139,000 Australian dollars. And the average Australian graduate salary is 86,000 Australian dollars. So we can see that the CQU students are earning far above the Australian median salary there. And the graduate employment rate is 96%. So again, as with the nursing qualification, that means that within 3 months of graduation, CQU graduates, 96% of them are in employment. And we can see that they're also earning far above the national average. So really, really strong outcomes there for the university. We have both information technology and information systems. Again, these are in the metro campuses, Brisbane, Melbourne and Sydney, and also delivered in Rockhampton. Standard LECOS requirements there. And then we've got the majors down here. So students will need to choose one major, whether that's software design and development, network and information security, or mobile application development. So these are really popular courses for our students as well. The information technology side of things is looking more into the hardware of the computer system. And then the information systems program is more looking at the software and the business analytics and running big data for running the business and that sort of thing. So two different types of qualifications there. As I mentioned before, we've got research at above and well above world standard in 22 different areas. And a new program that we have brought in is our graduate certificate in research, the CL58. This is a 1 semester program. And the reason that this program has been brought in is that for students to meet the entry requirement for their Masters by Research or the PhD, they do need to have some background in research completed already. So whether that's that they have already completed a research component in their bachelor degree, for example. But what we were finding at the university was that some students were interested in doing a Masters by Research or a PhD, and they did not have a previous history in research, and therefore they didn't meet the entry requirement for the course. So what we have now created is a 1 semester graduate certificate in research to prepare students to go into a Masters by Research or PhD. So what this means is that, again, we can package this program with a Masters by Research. So you've got your 2 years for your Masters by Research and an additional 1 semester for the graduate certificate in research. And that will allow students who don't have a research background to complete this course and then commence doing their research at the university. And then this is the program that they would package into, the 2-year Masters by Research. So the Masters by Research program can be done at any of the campuses at CQU. They do need to keep in mind the supervisor may not be at the same campus as them. We do recommend that students try to study at the same campus as their supervisor. It will make the experience easier, but it's not a requirement. The research program's also eligible for the 25% international student scholarship, and we'll have a look at the scholarship shortly. Okay, another key selling point of the university is our internships. So we have built in internships into most of our really popular undergraduate and postgraduate programs. So the internships available in our business programs, in our IT programs, and in our engineering programs. So the internship is a full semester, so it goes for 10 to 12 weeks. And in that, so they do the internship in the final semester at the end of the course. And in that semester, they don't do any study. The students just do the full-time work experience in the internship program. The other thing that's good about the internship is that CQU will find the internship for the student. So they don't need to locate their own internship. The university will arrange that for them. In that final semester, when they're doing the internship and they're not doing any study, they will be given 2 units of credit for undertaking the internship. So the internship will count towards the course. And for that semester, they just pay for the 2 units of study. There are no extra costs involved in taking on the internship. So obviously this is really great experience for the student. They can see an Australian workplace and how that operates. Really good for networking. If students are thinking about post-study work visas, this can be a great chance for them to get some contacts within the industry. And we do have examples of students who have actually been employed by the internship provider after they've completed the internship. The internship is optional in all courses except for the Master of Engineering. Students must undertake the internship in the Masters of Engineering. Another area of strength for the university is the social innovation. So we've built social innovation into all of our courses now. And the social innovation, CQU is Australia's first Ashoka U Changemaker campus. And so what this is doing is teaching social innovation to all of our students in all of the courses. So we have students volunteering in communities locally and globally, and it's teaching students to give back to the community they're living in, the community that they're doing business in. Here is a summary of the graduate employment outcomes that we spoke about before. So again, this is a real area of strength for the university. So we can see the overall employment rate for CQU is 89% of graduates who've completed an undergrad are employed within 3 months, and the national average is 86.8%. So again, the CQU is outperforming the national average there. And the full-time employment rate is 79% as opposed to 72%. And we can see a similar trend with the postgraduate outcomes here, where CQU is tracking above the national average for the employment rate for our students. And really importantly as well, and something that we like to talk to students about, is the average starting salary. We know that students are coming to study higher education to improve their career prospects. And so what we can see is our students are finding work more quickly. And when they do find work, they're actually being paid more than the national average. So again, really strong outcomes from the university. And these outcomes are because of programs like our internship that are helping students find that employment more quickly. Just a quick look at some of the student support services that we offer. So CQU is really hands-on university. We have much smaller class sizes than a lot of the other universities in Australia. So we really pride ourselves on providing really strong student support for students throughout their time here, from when we welcome them to orientation, to helping them with things like finding accommodation and their personal welfare, the academic support during their course, so the study skills, they can get help from the Academic Learning Centre, and then also things like career preparation. So we can help them with writing a resume or practicing for a job interview. So really hands-on support for the students. Great. So I'll just quickly run through. Are there any questions about any of those key selling points that I can answer?
I think we'll continue on and we'll do the questions at the end.
Sure, great idea, Bob. Cool. So we'll just run through the application process. I think you're probably pretty familiar with the process and with StudyLink. So we are using the StudyLink system for all of our application, offer, acceptance and payment process at the moment. We don't have any application fees at all, so students can apply for free. And the other point of difference would be our research applications. So we are now running a two-stage process for both Masters of Research and for the PhD program. What you probably experience and what my experience with research applications has been in the past is that students are told they need to contact a supervisor in order to make their application for a research program. But what often happens is that students will email or contact one or more supervisors, and then quite often they will never hear back from that supervisor. So what we have done at CQU is split the application process into two stages. So students can actually apply to the university without a supervisor. So they do need to have a proposal, around a 2-page proposal completed. And then in the first stage, the expression of interest, the EOI stage, the university will try to match the student's application with a supervisor. So the student doesn't need to do that themselves. We can't guarantee that we can find a suitable supervisor for the student, but what we can do is provide the student an outcome to either confirm that their application has been successful, or that they might have to look at another institution or another research project. So we can at least give the student that certainty. If we are able to find a supervisor for the student, then we would invite the student for the second stage, which is to submit a full application. So this is just something to keep in mind if you have research students coming to your office. The turnaround time for offers at the moment should be really quick. So you should be getting your offer letter within 24 to 48 hours of making your application. And as I mentioned before, please feel free to get in contact with me if you have any admissions inquiries or you'd like an urgent offer or anything like that. Applications that need a credit assessment will take up to 1 to 2 weeks longer than your standard application. The acceptance of the offer is being done through StudyLink. And for students who are in Australia now, we're just taking a $2,000 deposit. Students who are offshore, depending on their region, if they're from a level 3 country, we'll still take a full semester deposit. If they're from AL1 or AL2 country, then we'll also take the reduced deposit for the COE. So for us, the CQ University Handbook, which is linked here, is kind of like our source of truth for all of the courses we have available. It will have information on which campus it is being delivered at. So please use the handbook as the first point of reference. I know that we have so many campuses and so many courses that it's difficult to remember which course is at which campus, but the CQU handbook will hold that information for you. It also lets you know when the course starts, the entry requirements and the course structure. So it'll have all the units being delivered in that program and what majors are being offered as well. So it's a really useful tool. Our academic entry requirements are online for the undergraduate programs. So I think we've got a few different regions here. So that link there for the admissions requirement should have your region and what they would need to obtain in senior high school in order to start a bachelor degree with us. Most of our master's degrees, they can enter with any related bachelor as long as it's an Australian equivalent. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the standard English score is 6.0 with no score less than 5.5. If you have onshore students, we can also recognise any study in Australia that's at Year 12 or Certificate 4 or higher will also meet the English entry requirements for our standard courses. So documentation for your application, obviously we need the academic transcripts from the highest level of study. We will ask for these to be certified documents. We do understand that getting documents certified can be a bit of a challenge at times, depending on the COVID situation at the moment. So if students are not able to get the documents certified, we can progress the application through to the COE and ask the student to bring the certified documents with them to Australia, which they would then need to provide once they enrol on campus. Students will need to provide their passport, the English language requirement. Students applying for credit will need to provide their unit outlines or course syllabus. And then additional documentation such as a statement of purpose or financial declaration is only provided for either students who are offshore from a high risk level 3 country, or potentially if there are any issues with the application, the admissions team might ask for a statement of purpose to help to explain what's been happening with that. So if there was any poor academic progression or if the student had any long gaps in study, we might ask for a statement of purpose just to explain what's been happening there. And this is what I mentioned there. So it's basically the onshore GTE. So just providing a statement of purpose around any issues that the admissions team would pick up on. So we don't ask that you submit this at the initial stage of the application. You would only need to include this if the admissions team had any concerns. They would come back to you and ask you for further clarification, but it's not a requirement at the beginning of the application. So some fees and scholarships. So what we've got here is our newest initiative. This is a really exciting initiative for us, and that is that we are now delivering all of our packaged English for free. So students no longer need to pay for their English study, and they can have up to 30 weeks of free English on the packaged offer there. So that will represent a saving of around $415 per week. So a student who saves 10 weeks of English is obviously saving over $4,000. So a 30-week English student could save up to $12,000 from not having to pay for the English tuition. We will, if you guys don't have it, we'll definitely share some advertising materials that you can provide to your students around receiving the free English. And then we also have 25% scholarships. So there are two kinds of 25% scholarship. There's the International Student Scholarship and the International Student Scholarship Regional. So the International Student Scholarship Regional is automatically awarded to all students who accept an offer to study at a regional campus. So they are Bundaberg, Cairns, Gladstone, Mackay, Perth, Rockhampton and Townsville. And all of these students will automatically receive a 25% scholarship for the full duration of the course. So each semester, they'll receive a 25% reduction on the tuition fees for the program. The other scholarship is the International Student Scholarship, which again is a 25% scholarship. And this is awarded to students who have obtained an overall grade of 65% or higher from the previous studies. And so this program, this scholarship, is used in the Brisbane, Melbourne and Sydney campuses. And I'm sure I'll get this question later, but students can only have one of these two scholarships. So if they have the overall grade of 65% or higher and they're going to Rockhampton, they'll get the International Student Scholarship. The scholarships are available for all of our courses. So vocational, vet, research, bachelor and master's courses are all eligible for this scholarship. The other initiative that we have at the moment is the early bird discount, which is a $1,000 bursary or fee reduction on the first semester of study only. So in order for a student to receive the early bird discount, they need to accept their offer, meet the conditions and pay the tuition deposit 1 month before the term starts. So for example, term 1 for us starts on the 8th of March in 2021, and the early bird has been extended until tomorrow. So students need to accept their offer letter 1 month before the course starts, and they'll receive an additional $1,000. And then the final option for students is our Destination Australia Scholarship from the Australian Government, which can be up to $15,000 per year. And students that are going to the Rockhampton campus can apply for this scholarship. They would need to hold an offer letter to study in Rockhampton and then submit a 500-word statement to apply for the scholarship. These other two scholarships, the International Student Scholarship and the International Student Scholarship Regional, are both automatically assessed. There's no need to apply. The admissions team will assess all applications for this scholarship, and if the student is eligible, they'll automatically be awarded that scholarship. Great, and then just wrapping up, we'll look at the important dates for us coming up. So we have got our term dates for term 1, term 2, term 3. As I mentioned, the next semester starts on the 8th of March and then the 12th of July and finally on the 8th of November. I should also mention that for us, the students coming to study at CQU must study in term 1 and term 2. So they are compulsory semesters. And then here, term 3 is a optional semester. So students can study there if they want to, but they don't have to study in term 3. So the reason that students study in term 3 is to fast track the program. They can finish the course earlier if they do study in term 3. The other option for them is to undertake some part-time study in the other semesters. So a full-time load for us is a student doing 4 units in term 1 and 4 units in term 2 and 0 units in term 3. So they're doing 8 units in 1 year. If a student wanted to do, for example, 3 units in term 1, 3 units in term 2 and 2 units in term 3, they're still completing 8 units in 1 year. So they're still classified as full-time, but then they've allowed themselves to have some part-time study throughout the year. And then the other very popular option would be for students to do no study in term 3. And if they do no study in term 3, they get a huge holiday. So the holiday would run from the 8th of November until the 8th of March. So they've got about 4 months off there. And so, of course, some students might want to come home to their home country or travel around Australia. And the other very popular option is for students to work full time in those 4 months and make back some of the tuition fee. Great. So that's everything from me. I will throw it open to questions now.
Right.
Bo.
Thank you so much, Alex. That was fantastic. And I had a question about the scholarship. So students can get the regional scholarship along with the Destination Australia scholarship, right? They can get those two.
Yeah, that's correct. I should have mentioned that myself. Yeah. So they can have both the Destination Australia and the regional scholarship together. And
fantastic.
in the first semester, they can also have the early bird on top of that as well. So
there's a lot on offer there, guys.
Yeah.
A lot of tuition that can be deducted from that. And so just so everyone knows, so with the Destination Australia scholarship, you have to submit a 500-word statement. What should that statement include?
So we're just looking at the reasons why the scholarship will benefit that student, and the study that they're doing will benefit their home country once they get back there.
Yeah. Okay, great. So we got a few questions here. Nyung asked about biomedical programs and asked about scholarship, but we went over the scholarships. Could you tell me can you tell me who has a chance to get national insurance if yeah, Nyung, the 15,000 a year scholarship is that Destination Australia scholarship. So that application can be made, and the student simply has to write a 500-word essay or a statement on why that scholarship will benefit them. I can send you a link for those details on the Destination Australia scholarship. No problem.
Yeah. So with the bachelor, with the Destination Australia scholarship, the numbers of that scholarship are more limited because we've been given them by the Australian government, whereas the other scholarships have an unlimited number. So the good news about that is if a student's going to a regional campus, you can say with confidence to that student that they will receive a 25% scholarship because the numbers are unlimited.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, she also had a question about biomedical programs. Does CQ have anything related to biomedical?
No, we don't teach in that field at the moment, no. We do have a Bachelor of Science that they could look at. And then in the health field, it's mostly around our nursing program.
Great. And it was, really, really good news to hear about the ELICOS fee being waived for up to 30 weeks. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So when did CQU start this?
So that is really new. So I think we started about last week was when it was first announced. So the students.
I think you might be one of the first university to do that. Is that right?
Yeah. I am not aware of it happening in other places.
I'm not aware of any other university doing that. I'll have to check.
Yeah.
But that really is fantastic, and I think that's a good way to attract students. Certainly, those students coming from China, Vietnam, South Asia will be very interested to hear about that.
Yeah, and I think it will really help us to sort of demonstrate the savings that a student will make. So with the most of our courses are around 30,000 Australian dollars per year.
Yeah.
So with the 25% scholarship, students are going to save around $8,000 per year from the 25% scholarship. And then if we had a student who was looking at maybe 30 weeks of English, they're saving over $12,000 from not paying for the English studies on top of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll also share.
Will the deposit change still though? If a student does package ELICOS with a bachelor program, will the deposit just become the first semester of the bachelor program, or will it be a little bit more because they are doing ELICOS, even though ELICOS is free now?
Yeah, that's a great question. The deposit for the main program does become a bit more. And the reason that we have the deposit of more is because what we don't want to see is students coming and doing 30 weeks of English and then applying for release.
Absolutely. It would have to change. Yeah.
Yep. So they'll be looking at the
Yeah,
full semester.
Yeah, I think students would be able to understand that.
Yeah, and we hope that that that's how we're explaining it to them, is that you're not paying for the daily costs tuition, but this deposit will go towards your main program tuition fee once you've completed your English.
Yeah. And Kenneth spoke a little bit about online study before. So how do the deadlines work for online study if we have students that want to do English, for example, or start their bachelor program online from offshore? What would some of the deadlines look like?
In terms of the application?
The application, yeah.
Yeah, good question. So we don't generally run with an application deadline. Previously, before COVID, we just used to say that the student needs to leave enough time for the visa application. Given that now is not really a barrier to commencement with the borders being shut, we can process an application right up to the last minute. So, I mean, we should have your offer out to you in 1 or 2 days. So,
fantastic.
If we were taking applications in the first week of March, I'm confident that we could have the student, have with a COE and their enrolment completed in time for the course. So, we're not really working with the deadlines in that sense. I guess I'm not sure how much detail Ken went into around the online study, but obviously students who are offshore will have to start online now.
Yeah.
We are offering students to start part-time online, so just 1 or 2 units to get started instead of doing all 4 at once. And then this is an advantage because they're not falling too far behind, at least they're making some progress. It also allows them to get a bit of a feel for what online education is like, because they may not have experienced that before. And then the other thing that is an advantage for the students is that it will mean that when the borders do open, they're a current student who will, have their place in the queue for coming into Australia. We're also running a free program called Essentials for Success, which is running before the start of their online study. And basically it's just a bit of a general online program for free to get an experience of what it's like to study online. And this way the student can kind of make sure that their internet connection is up to speed, that their laptop works, that it's the experience that they're hoping for. So it's got just general academic skills in it, as well as
fantastic
career skills and that sort of thing. And so we're hoping to use that to build the students' confidence around studying online. Absolutely, it will for sure. And there might be situations where a student realises that after doing that program that actually it's going to be really difficult for them to do the online study, and at least that way they've worked that out from doing the free program rather than paying for the main program. They can then choose to defer or look at other options around their internet connection or whatever it might be.
Great. Okay, I see we've gone just over to 3 o'clock local time now. So if anyone has any more quick questions before I let Alex go, or I see Agatha, is there anything you wanted to add today?
Thank you for everyone, and I think has been summarized well with Alex. I just want to add more information that if your students has got their COE for this term, please do check and remind the students that our student engagement sent for enrollment and check-in email. So students need to book an appointment with our student engagement to do the check-in and enrollment before they start their study.
Yeah, that's a good point. Fantastic. Okay, I think we have gone a little bit over time today, so I think we'll end the webinar here. Thank you everyone for joining this webinar again. And for those who celebrate Lunar New Year coming up, I wish you a happy New Year later this week, and I wish you a good break. And Alex and Agatha, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you guys have a good rest of the week, and thanks so much for your support.
Thanks, Bo.
Yeah, thank you, Bo.
No problem. Chúc mừng năm mới. Yeah. Okay. See you,
Okay.
everyone. Bye
Bye.
bye.
See you.
See ya.
Bye.